everyone, it's Michael, and I cannot believe that 2017 is this close to being over. Now, I wanted to do this video a little bit later towards the end of December, but as you know, with the holidays, there's so much going on, so I figured I might as well just check this off of my to-do list now because it's a video that I'm super excited to do. Now, I've been playing around with this concept for a little while, but every year I want to do a game changers video, meaning I take the most relevant and significant developments in my orchid growing journey and compile them in order of importance. So that's precisely what I'm going to do. Now, as I've mentioned many times, I've only been growing semi-hydroponically since May of this year, and my learning curve has been steep. I have made so many mistakes. I have really stepped out of line a few too many times, but my objective with this video is to give you the resources and give you the information that I learned through trial and error so that hopefully you can navigate your own growing decision-making process effectively. So, without further ado, I'm just going to jump in. Coming in at number 5 is the discontinuation of Fertilizing 20 as a means of chemical algae control. Now, as it pertains to semi-hydroponics, algae really does boil down to just a matter of aesthetics. And I did a whole video on it, I will link it below, but realistically, by using Fertilizing 20 monthly as a method to prevent the growth of algae or to manage the growth of algae, I was doing a lot more harm than good. I was stripping the roots of mutually beneficial bacteria. I was burning the root tips periodically, especially the new green root tips because they're more sensitive. But the big takeaway here is that if you don't absolutely have to use a chemical in your grow environment, just don't. It's not constructive. There's no need to be adding it in there because it's only going to set your plant back. And that was hard for me to learn because I want everything neat, I want everything tidy, I want everything orderly. But organic materials, plants, human beings, animals, we don't follow that template, so sometimes it's good to just relinquish control and let it do its thing. Number 4 on the list is not fertilizing after a chemical treatment. Now, this is kind of an interesting one because I had my whole philosophy about this that I was going to give the plant one final meal before the roots start to rot out as it adapts to semi-hydroponics. But what happens, it's just like I was talking about with the Fertilizing 20. In the process of treating the roots, you're stripping these mutually beneficial bacteria that help the plant break down, metabolize, and use fertilizer solution. Without those symbionts, without those mutually beneficial bacteria, the orchid, its roots are kind of vulnerable and more susceptible to being burned. So in the earlier stages when I had first started with semi-hydroponics, I was doing my Fertilizing 20 treatment, as we discussed, but I was also using hydrogen peroxide treatments on the roots and then immediately following with a fertilizer solution. And what I noticed was that the roots were rotting out so much faster. And since I have stopped doing that, and so every time after I repot or every time after I do a treatment, I just used plain distilled water for a period of about a week to 2 weeks until the plant can really kind of heal from what's happened. And that has been tremendously helpful. As a matter of fact, specifically with my Phalaenopsis orchids, all of the roots would rot out without fail every single time on all of the plants that I did a chemical treatment and then I followed with fertilizer. But the more recent transitions to semi-hydroponics that I have, that I haven't done that and I've just used plain distilled water after sanitizing the root system, some of those roots are still in the grow containers, they're still viable roots. So I think that's something to note. Number 3, ambient humidity. This one is a huge one, you guys. So I went through a long journey of experimenting with different tactics and processes. I was using sphagnum moss on the top of the leca pellets. I'll link the video below. You can see everything that I tried. But ultimately, I just invested in a home ultrasonic humidifier and a humidity monitor. And what that did for me was it allowed me to track exactly where the humidity swings were throughout my apartment and kind of place my orchids accordingly. So now my apartment stays at a constant of around 50 to 55% humidity depending. And the impact is just undeniable with the plants. The plants have just perked up so much. It also gives me peace of mind as I put my plants that require a winter rest through dormancy because I know that they can still process some moisture straight out of the air. So having a strong source of ambient humidity is going to really be constructive in the well-being of your plants. And it's funny because in semi-hydroponics we think to ourselves, or maybe this is just me and I'm extrapolating it to everybody, But I thought for the longest time, like, I don't really have to worry about that because they always tell you to put your orchid on a tray of pebbles and that'll create humidity. But it literally, a semi-hydroponic grow system is a tray of pebbles. So I was like, no, it's taken care of. It's self-sustained within the container. And that's true to an extent, but that doesn't negate the need for it in the overall environment. So that is why number 3 is ambient humidity. Moving on, pH, TDS, and water type. Now, I did a 3-video series on this, and I will link it below. But this was a huge learning curve for me because I had never tested my water. I was watering exclusively with tap water. My tap water is extremely hard. There's no possibility that my plants were able to extract any type of nutrient from that water because, first of all, it was super salty, and it was the pH was way too high. So that being said, understanding pH, understanding total dissolved solids, and understanding the difference between distilled water and tap water and filtered water, it's really important because you have to understand what your plants are receiving in nature versus what you're giving them. Because as adaptable as they may be, there are certain things that they can't overcome. And nutrient deficiency is something that takes about 2 years to show in an orchid. So it's something that's really easy to overlook. But making sure that you understand exactly what type of water you're using, ensuring that your plant is able to process the nutrients that you are providing it, is really going to make an impact in how they grow. And I have to tell you, and you guys are going to see during the December update, there's so much good going on right now, and I cannot wait until spring because now that I have these things locked down a little bit better, their growth is accelerating at such a strange and amazing rate. And it's peculiar because it's winter. There's slow time right now, but I'm still seeing so many beautiful changes. So pH, TDS, and water type is a huge check in the box for me. That was a big game changer for 2017. And the number 1 game changer is, drumroll please, leave your plants alone, you guys. Just leave them alone. This is the hardest one for me because I am a psycho. I just want to pick and I want to look and I want to lift it up and I want to take it out. I'm such a weirdo and I just need to get in there all the time. But I made a video a long time ago about why I love orchids. And part of the reason that I love orchids is because it's just like yoga. It challenges me to breathe. It challenges me to think critically about what my intentions are. It challenges me to relax and slow down. So as much as I want to be everyday psycho Michael with these, it doesn't serve the needs of the plants. And every time I did that, there was a real tangible consequence. So the biggest lesson of 2017 for me is stop messing with your plants and just allow them to exist. You can check up on them lovingly, make sure that they're fed, make sure that they're watered, make sure that they're getting enough light. But in terms of unpotting them, repotting them, chemically treating them, picking at them, wanting to divide them, wanting to just give them a break. So there you have it. Those are the top 5 game changers of 2017. Now, because my channel is a lot like a video journal, I have linked all of the relevant videos to the topics that I just discussed below. Feel free to take your time with those. If you have any questions or concerns or feedback, please leave it in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe. I love you guys so much. Thank you for everything. I hope you have the most beautiful holiday season and a very happy new year. I don't know why I'm saying that like I'm not going to see you before the end of the year. I'll talk to you guys soon, whatever. But I love you so much and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Mwah! Bye guys.